At Gruff, the lifting arm is still in the vertical, probably a very safe place.
Well, that's what we saw them do when they fought Touro Maximus actually earlier this morning. In that fight, they wanted to keep that arm out of the way of Touro Maximus until the drum on Touro Maximus stopped working. And eventually they got that, where the drum stopped, and then they were able to put the arm on the floor and use it to try to lift Touro Maximus up and out of the arena. And in fact, Gruff wound up winning that fight in a judge's decision, but they still won in a 22-11 judge's decision. So the strategy worked that time around.
So we have quite the pairing. Medal guaranteed.
Yes.
But everyone wants the gold.
Exactly. Someone's getting bronze at the end of this fight, and bronze is nice. It's a beautiful medal, but I suspect that they would like something a little higher up.
And for those of you keeping track, we are at 19 wall wins, 1 loss to humans, none to bots.
As you're looking at Touro Maximus, as we've been seeing it throughout the competition, there's that gold-colored drum on the front. Top speed on that drum is 10,000 RPM, and we have seen it get up that fast, both here and at past competitions. It has done some serious damage in the past.
Touro Maximus starting the Twitch test along with Gruff.
Touro Maximus competed last year, RoboGames 2017. It took 4th place, so already is going to have a better finish this time around than it did last year. At RoboGames 2016, it took 3rd place, and at RoboGames 2015, it took 1st place. So a very successful robot. Obviously, it's made it to this point in the competition, but it's proven that it belongs here. Fight.
And they are off. Touro Maximus biting into the front of Gruff. Again, these bots have already competed against each other today, with Gruff getting the victory.
And you see that's, again, Gruff going with the strategy, keeping that arm off the ground. Going to wait until the drum on Touro Maximus is disabled, and then they'll use the arm.
Gruff now being thrown into the corner. This is a position he doesn't want to be in. But the power of Gruff pushing Touro as red hot sparks bounce off the roof and jams him under the RoboGames wall.
He's going to pin him there. You're allowed to do that for 15 seconds. I'll point out a quick strategy that Gruff did. When Touro got to the back of it, Gruff actually flipped the arm in front so that Touro couldn't get to the arm from that side either. Timeout. It looks like neither robot is able to separate.
So what happens in this situation is the weapons will power down. When Touro's weapon ceases to move, we will separate the bots. We are only seconds into this, but you can see these drivers are not holding anything back. But fair is fair. We have to separate the bots as neither can move.
You can see little pieces of debris on the arena wall moving from the vibrations that Touro Maximus's drum was creating when it was up at full speed. That's how powerful that drum is. It's not even air. It's just the vibrations of Touro Maximus's drum reverberating through the metal of the RoboGames bumpers. So this is the dangerous part. This is where we have to be very careful, because we have 2 live robots, and 2 live robots that are stuck together right now. They're going to have to try to pry Gruff away from Touro Maximus without affecting the fight too much, but also paramount by staying safe. And they're not going to do it by grabbing Gruff's lifting arm, because that might damage the lifting arm, and that wouldn't be fair to Gruff. So they have to do it by the body.
Remember, these bots weigh 220 pounds. That is potentially wedging them together with 440 pounds.
Yes,
that's not easy to move.
They're calling for a crowbar because they can't do it manually. That's how tightly together these machines are stuck. So now we're bringing a crowbar into the arena. And they will try to lift. Let's see what that. Well, first they'll discuss. Okay, what do we want to lift with the crowbar to try to free Gruff from Touro?
It's very hard to get purchase on Gruff due to the fact that he's so low slung and hugging the floor. Right. Really not much exposed. You want to be careful of the wheels. Obviously, the competitors have their hands off of the controllers.
Yep, you see a shot there of Marco watching to that yellow light that's blinking. That's the yellow light that the competitor's console, each competitor has a button next to a light, and when there's a timeout like this, then it turns yellow and starts blinking very bright to catch the attention of the driver so that they know that they need to stop and follow the referee's instructions. They're still trying to figure out how to remove Gruff from Touro Maximus.
This could be revenge of the wall. The wall has lost one to our safety crew already, and it might be wanting to definitively make its presence known.
Yes, they've brought in a second crowbar now.
Oh, looks like Gruff is starting to move.
They had to get a little aggressive with it, but they are able to wiggle Gruff free.
That's
interesting.
Touro
That's interesting.
Is in. If we could get the camera off of us onto the safety crew, Touro is still jammed. Now we cannot move Touro. That was the offensive move to try and ram and jam him. Now,
correct.
Touro Maximus, we can see the Touro team is not liking their position, but that drum spins like a maniac.
And
they can use the vibrations and rocking the wheels back and forth to try and vibrate their way out.
And that is the only strategy that they're going to have, because once the fight resumes, it's up to Gruff to decide whether it wants to continue to attack or whether it wants to run away and let Touro try to escape on its own. I suspect I know what will happen. First, Touro is allowed to spin up because when it's called for a timeout like that, the fight has to resume in the same state that it was at when time was called. And when time was called, that drum was spinning at full speed. So once
he's free!
All right. He can't drive yet. We have not counted them back in, but he is allowed to be in that position.
Life breathes back into Team Riobots.
One, fight.
And they're off. Touro oh no, he's almost jammed back into the wall again. Gets himself free.
Now the timer is not going. They need to address that. All right, we'll keep track on the timer in a different manner right now.
Another massive hit. This fight's going to be a little bit longer as they missed the timer.
Well, they'll try to compensate
Another punishing
for that.
blow. The panel on top of Gruff has been shook loose by that punishing blow. Sparks fly as the panel comes completely loose. He is now exposed.
And one of those rear pieces of white on Gruff also torn apart by the wedge, or by the drum, sorry.
Nothing left to lose if you want to get to that gold medal match. No, a belt is coming off of Touro Maximus.
Well, if that's the drum belt, then they're going to have to do that.
But he flips himself over. Gruff is not out of this. Touro, though, there is a belt loose on the left front, as you can see it spinning there, but the drum spinner is still able to operate. The tide might have changed if Gruff can operate.
Yep. But Gruff is having trouble moving. It's having trouble driving. Something came out there when Gruff self-righted.
Oh, he's free. Maybe he can only drive backwards.
Well, right now Gruff is just using the arm to propel itself. It's not using any of its drive. It's only using the arm. And that's not enough to get it to count as movement, so it needs to drive using its wheels, not just the arm. And
the count has already begun.
That's enough. There we are. Now it moved. Or no, is it enough?
Touro, a spark, a small flame coming up from beneath the bot for a mere moment. The drum not spinning. He's trying to maybe get a pin into the wall as well.
Well, we saw that belt come out. That might have been the belt on the drum, and it took a while for the drum to come to a complete stop because it was spinning so quickly. But now
25 seconds left in the bout. Gruff seemingly able to move, just having some issues. Could be stuck on a little bit of debris.
Yeah, Touro is actually a surprisingly effective pushing robot right now. It helps that Gruff is having so much trouble moving.
10 seconds left.
And Touro's just watching, waiting to see if Gruff can move.
And that's time. We go to a judge's decision.
Well, that was a fight full of ups and downs for both teams. As you're watching the replays, it started off with Touro doing a lot of damage, grinding away on Gruff. It was up to Gruff to try to stop Touro, and that right there, we see a shot of Marco watching as Gruff slamming Touro in the wall. We thought Touro might have been stuck, but when Touro spun up, that vibration's so powerful, the wheels plopped back down onto the ground.
A lot of damage for both bots. Something that obviously would want a definitive knockout instead of leaving it up to the judges at this point. And there's not a lot of time. It looks like these teams are going to get 40 minutes, bare minimum, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And not much more.
No.
As we are coming down towards the end. And
very few fights left, so whichever robot wins, it's going to be a mad dash at their pit table to get that robot functioning again.
There are belts, bolts, and parts spread throughout the entire arena right now, and it gets more and more difficult to move. There's very low clearance on a lot of these bots because you don't know if you're going to be going up against a wedge like Original Sin, so you want to stay low. But as the debris begins to build, your motion gets slowed. And as we saw potentially with, and we have a judge over.
The judges have turned in an 18-15 decision. The winner, Touro Maximus.
Touro lives another day, a comeback story.
And Team Rio Bots is happy.
That is going to be a bronze medal for Gruff. Touro Maximus is now about to go into crunch time with 40 minutes minimum to repair the bot. We already saw some belts flying out from it, and we're going to go cut over to a post-fight interview.
All right, now you're going to go up against Original Sin. I had it called earlier. Realized I was a little bit earlier on that, but you proved me right on that one. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling very anxious because Gary Jean is a very excellent driver. His robots is flawless, doesn't stop, so it's going to be an intense fight.
It looked like, since you're new to driving in the big arena, it looks like at one point Gruff got you a little bit mad and you went right after them. Is that what happened in there?
Yeah. I was trying to get it on his skirts, on the wedge in his front. I was not being able. His wedge is very good. I was trying to get on his sides. And then when I got stuck in the arena, I knew that I had to spin the drum to the maximum power to get the vibration and release it. That was a lucky one.
Well, that was a really clever trick there. I'm really looking forward to this match against Original Sin. What do you think your strategy is going to be taking him on?
The strategy is going to be to drive and drive and drive.
Sounds like a good one. Well, thank you very much for a wonderful fight there. Back to the booth.